This is Khatt Chronicles, design stories from the Arab world, presented to you in collaboration with Afikra.
My name is Yara Khoury Nammour, and I have with me today Dr. Bahia Shehab. Bahia is an artist and author based in Cairo. She is professor of design and founder of the graphic design program at the American University in Cairo. Her work has been exhibited internationally and has received a number of international awards, including the BBC's 100 Women's List, a TED Senior Fellowship, a Prince Claus Award, and the UNESCO Sharjah Prize for Arab Culture. She is the founding director of Type Lab at AUC. Her latest publications include You Can Crush the Flowers, a visual memoir of the Egyptian Revolution, and the award-winning co-authored book, A History of Arab Graphic Design. Her upcoming book is called A Trade in Dreams, A Century of Egyptian Press Advertising. Welcome, Bahia.
Hello, Yara. Thank you for having me.
I have to say that I'm very biased when it comes to you. I cannot be شهدتي مجروحة. You are a superwoman to me. I mean, you are everywhere doing everything we all wish to do. But I don't know how many hands, how many heads, how many brains you have to do all that you are doing. So because of that, my first question to you is, what is your driving force? Or maybe forces?
I think it stems from our political reality, unfortunately. It's not a pleasant one. My driving force is the need for change. I feel like we are here to, some people are here to stir things up, maybe to refresh where we are. So my driving force is because I studied our history and I feel we don't deserve this reality. So to me, that's the first driving force, is looking on the streets every day, looking how we are portrayed in the media every day, seeing how we are viewed by colonizing entities, and knowing really the true value of our culture and the true value of our people and how brilliant people are, were, still, and will be in the Arab world. I think this is what keeps me going, is portraying a more realistic view of who we are as nations.
Super. So how did you get to that? Tell me about your journey as a designer. How did you get to that conviction?
I think this started very early on when I was even still a student designer. I was always wondering, why did we look so well designed historically when I looked at Islamic manuscripts or historic buildings from bygone Islamic eras that I knew nothing about at the time when I was in my late teenage, early 20s as a student. I was just fascinated. I was struck by the beauty of these, the same way I'm struck by the beauty of Japan and I cannot read the language. I have the same fascination. I had the same fascination towards our Arab culture and Islamic culture, Arab/Islamic. And this for me was in big contrast to what I was seeing on the street, what we looked like right now. That started early on. It was just a question of why. I was just asking, why do we look like this?
So you were a student. Where were you a student?
I was a student at the American University in Beirut. So this is where I studied for my undergrad. And we were actually the fourth class to graduate from the program. So nobody really understood what graphic design was at the time, in the vernacular sense. So till today, some of my students, their parents don't really know what we do as designers, which is, but I think it's much, much better than 25 years ago when I graduated.
How did you explain to people what you did 25 years ago, and how does it change now?
I feel that our students are still struggling and giving the same answers because the more common knowledge is, are you أنت مهندس ديكور ولا
interior designer?
To work on a computer, what do you do? And so how to explain to them that we design visual unseen systems that they interact with every day? Challenging for a fresh graduate to verbalize that, but then eventually with time you develop the language. But also many people don't continue as designers. A lot of people shift careers. You experiment, you try other things, you go, you come back. But I think the training of design thinking stays with you for life, no matter what you do.
True. I agree. And do you have any inspirational points or turning points, people, events, something that happened? I mean, that that changed the way your outlook to design or to education? Because you're also primarily not only an artist, but you are an educator at heart.
Yeah, I feel the first influential figure in my life was, of course, Samir Sayegh at school, because you can see him behind me,
Yep.
Baraka. So Samir is a formative was a formative experience that I carried with through he's also a mentor and a father, so he's not just a teacher. He was not what we were used to seeing as teachers. He saw the bigger picture and he shared it with us in a very simple way, simple to our comprehension as young adults. With him, I was interested in the Arabic script, but then I graduated and I worked on a master's degree in Islamic art and architecture. And to me, that was very eye-opening because it started answering the why. It kind of started answering how. But then again, I was stuck with the why. It wasn't it. So I worked on a PhD on Arab art and the letterist movement, focusing on Arabic calligraphy. And then the revolution happened, and throughout all this process, I understood the why, but it all started with a why.
I'm always getting Samir Sayegh especially from the early people who graduated, designers who graduated from AUB, and I'm always wondering what it is. And when you meet Samir Sayegh, you understand. You understand
exactly.
all the questions he puts in your head. And you go on your own trip, and each one of you who have graduated and have gone on their own personalized trip and have found their answers, or not yet, but he planted a lot of questions in your head, and that is the beauty of I think what he did.
I think to me, this is the imprint of a good educator is not somebody who is a cookie cutter educator who wants you to follow a discipline and do what he's teaching you a craft. He's a conceptual humanist who drives you to push yourself into knowing what you're passionate about and following that.
Yeah,
that's what makes him such an important figure in our. I think several of us have had that.
Yeah. So if he's an inspirational point, what would you think is a key turning point in your career? When did you decide to become who you are today? Or was it a conscious decision in your head, or it just rolled and things and events took you places?
No, it's the Egyptian Revolution.
Oh,
it's for me.
That late.
I was working in the commercial sphere, really not fitting in, not feeling like I belong. And I had started with my master's degree out of curiosity, not thinking I will have a career shift. But then this opportunity arose and I was asked to develop the design program after teaching for a year here at AUC, having somebody come from the market. And they wanted to bridge more academia and the market. And for me, that was in parallel to this path, the revolution was unfolding on the street. So I think these two events, me finishing a master's degree and being asked to develop a design program at AUC, and the Egyptian revolution unfolding, these for me were locking the deal. Like, I'm not going back. That's it. I will move forward as an academic from now on.
When were you asked to do the program?
2010.
10. And when was the revolution? 2017?
2011.
Oh, just 1 year apart. Oh God.
Yeah.
I mean, the time flies. 2011. Wow.
Yes, next year it's 15 years of the revolution. Like,
as if it was yesterday. My. Okay. All right. So we're in 2025. We're in
yes.
And I would want to ask somebody like you, what is the project you're most proud of?
I think the proudest I would be of depending on in what sphere, is it the academically, scholarly? perfectly. So
Okay, let's talk about academics first.
academically,
This is the
I'm very
program.
proud of the design program
Yeah.
because I consulted with Laila Mustfi at AUB. I talked to Huda, who taught in Dubai. I looked at curriculums in the region, and it always bugged me that there was no history of our history in any of the programs that were flourishing in the region. And I felt like I really wanted to include that, and that eventually is what I'm most proud of, is that I was able to create a nucleus for the discipline of a history of Arab graphic design. Of course, I'm not the only one. It was I was just in the right place at the right time. Because a lot of people were having the same sentiment. You have Huda Abi Faris with Khatt, who started already. By that time, the first book on the designer series, Haitham joined, and we started collaborating on the book. So there were key points here and there. But to me, academically, what I'm most proud of is the graphic design program that I've developed 15 years ago.
And which takes you to your scholarly project.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that stems from that, I think, no? Which is you're
Exactly.
proud of, which is, I'm assuming.
Yes, I think the history of Arab graphic design is a seminal book, and it created a lot of a stepping stone for more scholarship. But I think my next book is going to have a wider impact because it's dealing more with the vernacular, and it's focusing on the press advertising specifically in Egypt, but also it's unpacked how colonization was also clearly impacting how we consume, how we dress, how we do our hair, how we talk, how we carry ourselves, and how this cultural erasure slowly happened. So I'm very proud of the history of Arab graphic design as a publication, because it's the incubator of a lot of ideas in the field. But I think this next book, there's a more of an academic maturity in terms of connecting big ideas to each other and linking them and analyzing them to a visual output of a nation. So, and it's a very visually rich book also. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that one.
Would you say it's one of these projects that you enjoyed the most, or there are other kinds of projects? Because as an artist, I feel that you enjoy something else also.
Yes, intellectually, yes, these two books, of course, there are the two memoirs for me. They're documentation books on pre-revolution, revolution, and post-revolution. So At the Corner of a Dream and was published before You Can Crush the Flowers, which was the other way around. But anyway, You Can Crush the Flowers was published as the 10-year anniversary of the revolution. But artistically speaking, these two books are a summary of my artistic practice, because if I'm to mention one project that has stayed with me since 2011 till today, it's 1,000 Times No, in different forms. It started as a book and an exhibition, then a stencil on a street in Cairo, then a stencil on the streets of different cities around the world. Now it's being exhibited in galleries in all the metropoli in the world. So it's for me, it's an ongoing idea that keeps rebirthing itself in a way. So it's still the most exciting.
And still alive and valid as an idea. I mean, it's an eternal idea. The 1,000 Times No.
I thought that we can say it because naively, when I developed it in 2010, I thought that, I'll say no once and khalas, we said no. It turned out something so basic and so, primitive in thinking, like just say no. Needs to be, I think I will need to keep repeating it till the day I die. It's such a basic idea, yet so.
It seems so. And maybe as women also, it is much more relevant also. We tend to say yes to a lot.
And speaking of women, the history of Arab graphic design gave leeway to the revealing, recording, reflecting book, because it was during the course of the history of Arab graphic design that I was approached by Huda, because I felt that I did something wrong in that book, that I did not have enough women. And so she said, I said, I promise we will have another book. And she said, are you sure? I said, I'm sure. And then the project started, and we're featuring someone like yourself in the book and 80 other women in the book. So now, yeah, it's lots of other amazing books have come out of that book.
Yeah. I'm sure you didn't do anything wrong, Bahia, by not featuring more women.
No, I still honestly, and I carry it because it was the first book, and I should have made more effort, more conscious effort to document more women, but it was really very hard. It was very hard.
A big feat.
But collecting, because the time period that we were working with, I needed an extra year just to research and consciously look for women, and I regret not having that question from the beginning of the quest, because men were much easier to find. They're readily available, talk about each other, they archive their work. A lot of the women support them to archive their work, while the women's work themselves disappear.
Yeah.
So
in all of these projects, what do you think is the most difficult part of the project? Not coming up with ideas, I'm sure. That's not difficult. Do you have anything that you can think of that is really the most difficult you carry with you all day and all night thinking about how to solve? Or
I think that it's not the book itself, but the knowledge.
Collecting the knowledge or
disseminating
it.
Disseminating, because for me, I feel even when we publish a book, that's still an elitist mode of knowledge creation. If you have money, if you can't read, I cannot teach you. For me, the biggest challenge in knowledge creation is its dissemination. And it remains an elitist. So I think as academics, we can do more to make our knowledge available to a bigger audience.
Then why is it so important to publish about design from the Arab world?
Because somebody needs to collect the data first, and I'm hoping in the future somebody can disseminate. But the first step always is collect.
Exactly.
Yeah.
While you're working on the history of Arab graphic design, was there a surprising moment, as I had while reading it, or was there an aha moment in that book that really, like, you unraveled something that nobody knew?
Yes, of course. Just putting the material together was like a slap in the face, and you feel so empowered. You're like, oh wow, we have all this. It comes when you hold the book. I cried when I first saw the book. I was in tears because I couldn't believe that we have something physical as proof of as our visual history. But to me, the biggest aha moment was not a pleasant surprise, or as the reader would see. I was seeing all the tragedy, so it was more heartache that someone like brilliant Iraqi designers are now diasporic and don't know what to do with their collection because they have no children or government to look after them. Or the Palestinian designers who are still till today. Or that I couldn't, or we couldn't write a book on the history of Arab graphic design without designers of the diaspora. It's impossible to write a history of Arab graphic design without مصممين المهجر, because they are bone of our visual language, and they are excluded of our curriculums because they are abroad, but they're also alienated in their environments because they're not from there.
Yeah. Where do you belong?
They're the exotic, someone like Burhan Karkutli, who should have a museum in his name in the Arab world, died in Germany with barely 2 publications documenting his work.
Wow.
So came out of it for me is the need for an Arab graphic design museum.
Yep. Oh, that's your next project then?
I think this should be our project. If we are collective, this should be our next big thing. We should all invest in a history of Arab graphic design museum.
Okay, then my next question is going to be really irrelevant, maybe, or relevant.
But how do we do it?
Yes. And why do you feel that what you do is of great relevance or importance? Why? What do you want to say to people?
I think it's not I cannot say I, because Yara, whether you recognize it or not yet, it's us. And I'm here because of you today. but also our knowledge is here because of each other. We came to a point where we are so lucky to have, because change comes in waves. And I saw that in the history books. You have the Sudan school, the Casablanca school, the Khartoum school, the Baghdad school, the Beirut school. So they came in waves, and it's not that Bahia is, has an idea. I'm a product of my age. I happen to be at the same place, at the right place, at the right time, and with the right platform. But you are doing something in Beirut. Bas Mohammed is something in Qatar. Nadine is doing something in Spain. Tariq Atrisi is doing something. Christian Sarkis, Pascal, and the list goes on and on and on. Lara, Aswad, each in their own sphere, but all of us, it's a generational change. I'm one of the manifestations of that change.
Lovely.
So if you look at change from that perspective, that we come in waves, I just came with the right crowd. I'm very lucky.
We're all lucky to be there. Yes. And it's contagious. That's the word I'm looking for. It's very contagious. Yes. And I hope as an educator, I find myself doing that, trying to do that, instigate some curiosity and be contagious. But I'm sure you do that with your students too, right?
Yes, of course. It's that's the whole point of education, is that we plant enough curiosity for them to keep wanting to ask questions. They will forget half of what we say or 3/4 of some will remember nothing from the classroom. But I hope that we just leave them with the tool of asking the right questions, so they can really find who they are.
I think I love that. And maybe we don't have a final advice or word, and that was the best advice. But if you do, please go ahead. Would you like to leave our listeners with anything that you think is worth saying at now?
I want to leave you with a small story that happened very recently of a designer who reached out to me asking me about something very technical in their PhD project. And I told them, please connect with another PhD person who's working on the same topic. Please work together, because if you make a book, then a third person will come and turn your book maybe into a pitch, and that can become a bigger national project. And if I have one advice to leave is work within your circle of influence, but most importantly, please connect, because we need each other, and it's only through each other that we will rise and that we will create social change.
Yeah, you need two hands to clap.
Yeah, exactly. You need two hands to clap. And it takes a village to raise a child.
Yeah, that's even better.
Yes. So it's not reach out, connect, step out of your comfort zone, and let's build bridges, because if we don't, no one will build them for us. We need to start building our own bridges.
Thank you so much, Bahia. This is so inspiring, as always. Love you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for listening. This was Khatt Chronicles, design stories from the Arab world.